What's the difference between a human love and a divine love? Human love is a human need. It's about fulfilling the need that human beings have to feel attached. So the goal is that you feel good about yourself through the attachments, the connections that you have in your life. That's a human need. Divine love is not about the need that you have, but the divine need that there is. And the attachment allows you to fill the need of another.
Yeah.
So the attachment isn't just that I should feel good. The attachment is that another should feel good. That's a divine love.
Is the capacity.
As in the famous story of the Rebbe Rashab, he was studying late at night, his young son asleep in the room where he was studying. And he was studying with a study partner, and the study partner, who was the teacher of this young lad, said to him, "Ah, Rebbe, look, you could see the pure thoughts on his face. The purity." He must have been 5 years old. And the Rebbe Shab was that brought out a love that he has for his son, and he wanted to kiss him. Is it the son needed the kiss? No, the son was sleeping. Who wanted the kiss? He did. Now, it's a Rebbe Rashab, so his desire for that is a divine thing. Yet, he didn't kiss him. He sat down and wrote a Hasidic discourse, and he gave it to him when he was 11 years old, and he said, "Here, this is a Hasidic kiss." What's a Hasidic kiss? A divine kiss. In other words, I wanted to kiss you out of the great love that was aroused in me to connect with you. It wouldn't be for his feeling good, but still. And what I did was something good for you. What was good for you? What I did was take that desire, wrote a Hasidic discourse with that love, right? Yeah. So you say, oh, no, so why did that love have to be aroused? Because in that arousing of the love, it was now used in a love for another, to give something to the other. As a result, gave him a Hasidic discourse. Mm,
Divine kiss.
a divine kiss, yes. Welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zich in Kadesh in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We continue in chapter 44 with the two types of love that we've spoken about. A love that is given from heaven, meaning it's a given. So by the complete righteous, that means a love of delights that God gives to them, that the righteous delight literally in God. Not what God does for them, but who God is, which is quite an achievement. That's only a gift from above. But there's also a gift from above, is that we have a love in us that is gifted to us because of the patriarchs, that their descendants would have this soul that would be a soul that just as that we can come to love God as much as we love life. How much you love life? Well, you love that more than anything. How much you want life? More than anything, right? When you're like, you know, you run fast, or in the desert, you're dead tired at night, right? At those moments, you feel that the next breath or the next, you know, glass of water that you drink revives you, and you really feel, you know, the desire for life. When you understand that that life that you have is really God, He is your life. So then my soul is my God, is my soul, is my very life. Therefore, I desire Him. I want to cleave to Him. I want to connect to Him by learning Tanya now or doing a mitzvah, whatever it might be, right? That's what we learned yesterday. Today we go even to the next and more intense kind of love, even more intense than God is your very soul, your very life, even more than that. It's a love that's likewise, it's concealed in, in the Jewish soul and is an inheritance to us. As the Zohar, it describes Moses and his divine service is like a son, right? Metaphorically, like a son who strives for the sake of his father and mother, whom he loves even more than his own body and his own spirit, ready to sacrifice his life for his father and mother in order to redeem them from captivity. That's the metaphor. In other words, the son puts his life on the line for his father and mother to save them when they're in captivity. In other words, that's greater than life. Because life, you wouldn't put yourself in harm's way, but greater is the love for his parents more than life itself. So that's even greater than what we just spoke about, right? Now, says the Alter Rebbe, this service, even though Rai Mehemna, the Zohar, is speaking about Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, but the truth is, it's not limited to him. Why? Because we're speaking about God. Well, God's our father. Guess what? He's not just Moses' father. He's mine too. Yours too, right? He's equally our father. Therefore, this love is more selfless than the previous love. Why? Because previous love is as much as you love life, that's how much you love God, because He's your life. Here, it's more than you love life. You love your parents, right? Again, it's a metaphor. Some children don't do that, right? Are not that way, which could be most of us. But it's a metaphor. That's important. There are such children. There are such children that what? That their parents are more dear to them and they will put themselves in harm's way in order to redeem them from captivity. Right? Now, you might ask the question, the Zohar is speaking about Moses on this level. Who are we to think that we're like Moses and we have a relationship with God on such a level that the relationship with God is more dear to us than life itself? Can we all claim that? Says the Alter Rebbe, nevertheless, a minute portion of this great goodness and light illuminates the font of souls of the Jewish people in each generation. And furthermore, there's a Moses in every generation, as we learned in chapter 42, that is there to help us illuminate that truth within us. It's within our soul. I mean, this is a truth that's of our soul, but we may not be able to access so simply. But Moshe Rabbeinu, the Moses of every generation, that's present in the souls of Israel in a manner that will take the obscurity and the concealment that's hidden, that hidden love that's latent in our soul and our heart, and allow us to reach it, right? And particularly, how do we do that? How do we do that? Is by habitually speaking this way, voicing to a voice that arouses the intention of our heart, that in our heart of hearts, God is our Father, and that we're ready, that He's more dear to us than life itself, which is the truth. That is the truth of our soul. So what we can do is continuously habituate ourselves in speaking this way, in thinking this way. By speaking and thinking this way, right, we will make it part of our nature. In other words, we'll express it outwardly. It'll be an outward expression of us as opposed to merely a hidden truth of my soul. So here he brings in, he doesn't use the words over here of emunah, of faith, but it does bring out the idea of faith once again. This is a faith that we have in our soul. In our soul, recognizes, senses, and knows that it is a child of God and God is our Father, and that the attachment to God is more dear than life itself. So even though I may not feel that outwardly, my soul for sure feels it. And the fact that I say it to myself, whether in my mind's, think it to myself, or even say it, and I do that in a habitual way, it'll become part and parcel of my nature, my outward nature, which is pretty powerful.
Footnote 13. Pretty beautiful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It condenses what you were just talking about, relatively speaking.
Any questions, any comments?
It takes practice.
Yeah. And that's what faith is. Faith is something that we have inside of us. It's an inherent quality of our being, but it's hidden. And by habituating it, by that thing that's a part of my soul, that is the truth of my soul, the reality of my soul, by the fact that I think it and speak it, I will reveal that truth on the outside, and that's what faith is to take to practice something that I have a talent for. So we have a talent to 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 look at God as our Father, and we're His child, but not just that. Everybody is that. But much more than that, that the relationship with God is more important than life itself. It's not just life itself. It's even greater than life itself. Which gives us an understanding what we learned in chapters 18, 19, if you recall earlier, the unique nature of the Jewish soul is that Jews throughout our history for the most part, have given up their lives for God, whether it was pogroms, whether it was, um, you know, the sword or the cross, right? Except the cross or the sword will be your end. And Jews didn't make a calculation to see, what's the cost benefit of things. They just gave up their lives. Even if they didn't live for God, they died for God. Why? Why? Because the attachment to God is more dear and more precious than life itself.
Does it take bittul? Does it take self-suffocation?
Well, it's the nature of the soul. We just have to, what we're learning over here is habituate ourselves in this idea.
And get rid of that?
Does mother as soul fit in the metaphor? A soul is the child, not the mother. It's the child. In this instance over, mother would be a different kind of metaphor. Tim.
Wow. It's a beautiful line here.
All right. Do we have any other questions? Darren, is it allowed to cut the connection to the idolatrous person, even what kind of connection we have? I mean, for sure, an idolatrous person, you want to cut the connection with them in that manner of idolatry. But I don't know if that means to cut complete connection. I guess that's too general a question, but I wouldn't say that that's what it means to cut completely, not necessarily. Okay. Lisa, how do we enact this deep connection in your daily life?
Mhm.
I guess it's the way I get it is just to, the uniqueness of Chabad, one of the uniquenesses is right, is that this is an absolute truth, a divine wisdom. And when you think it, right, when you think this way or you speak this way, even though emotively you may not be this way, right? You may not be emotionally feeling that God is more dear to you than life itself. I don't think we will get there personally. But if we habituate ourselves to think this way or to talk this way, right? Even just talking to yourself, even to meditate upon this idea, what we're doing is allowing the true nature of our soul to emerge. Will it really emerge and I will feel this through and through? I don't think so. That's my hunch. But that's okay. If I behaved it, if I'm now thinking this way, right? In other words, learning Tanya, let's take an example. Learning Tanya. So before I study learning Tanya, or before I pray to God, I think to myself that my prayers to God, right? My Torah study is more dear to me than life itself. I That's a beautiful one. Just think that idea,
Mhm.
right? Now, is it truly through and through that idea in you? Probably not. No, only by the righteous it'll be through and through. But you know what? So what?
Or the grateful.
So what? So it's not through and through. So it's only on on the thought level, right? You're only thinking that. You say, oh, see, tomorrow the alternative is going to go more into this. Yeah, actually, I'm going to wait because he's going to ask the question tomorrow and deal with it. So, Lisa, thank you. We're going to get more into it tomorrow.
Does it take gratitude?
I don't think it's about gratitude. And I think it's about doing the mitzvah with this mindset. That's not gratitude.
Because I'm learning.
Well, one second. I just said a statement.
Yeah.
So first acknowledge the statement that was made.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. It's not about, I mean, is there gratitude here? Yeah, but that's not the point, is gratitude. It's a mistake to kind of bring everything to gratitude. Everything is not ultimately gratitude.
It's an element.
It's an element, yeah.
I just felt it. Grateful to be learning Torah. There's just room with like my clothing. I could take it everywhere I want.
Um, so it's just, think this way, that this mitzvah, can I say that I really, really feel that? Well, again, tomorrow we're going to go into, so I don't want to do tomorrow's class now, although it's tempting. Thank you, Lisa.
I think you feel more than you know.
Raquel is asking, what an exciting time and days we live in. Absolutely. We're on the cusp of something big. Mashiach now. Final redemption. Imagine a world of peace. When you look at the world, it's crazy. But that's only one dimension of the world. If you look deeper, it's amazing. Amazing. And we are creating God's garden here. More than the Garden of Eden, of Adam and Eve. And we're all doing that together over here by learning Tanya. Davida, his comment was already deleted. Yeah, thank you. All right, folks. Amazing stuff. And yeah, I know. All right, folks. Again, it was taken care of already. Thank you. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you for Chabad Zich and Kadesh, Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have an amazing, wonderful day. Rambam coming up now. Laws of the moon.